Hey guys, I figured I'd get a little personal. Here's the thing about this subject. I think more men need to speak out about it, first of all, but I would say um, the female have this idea that men are all rapists and women by proxy just can't do anything wrong. Even if they have done something wrong, they use mental gymnastics and doublethink to make it seem like um, the everything they did, everything that's happened to them, is a victim, and no matter what you've done, or no matter what they've done to somebody else, it's always taken back to men's fault, and they have these mental gymnastics. So I think what needs to happen is more men need to talk about their experiences. So I'm going to talk about just three of my experiences of being raped, and this is what it's like to be raped by a woman. Um, my first experience was my mother. I was uh, I was 4.5, and I was home after school. My brother hadn't got home yet, and I think he was born in '67. I was born in '73, so he was probably in like second grade or something like that. So I got home before him, so I was obviously in like kindergarten or something. And she had me place my whole arm into her vagina, and she was on her period. So if you could think of a 4.5-year-old with his arm inside of his mother and blood everywhere, how devastating that was to a child. So I didn't understand obviously what was happening, and it took a long time to get over things like that. Now, I was taken away from her at age 5 and put into foster care and adopted out when I was 7. And in foster care, I was raped by men and women. But I thought my time was over once I got in out of the adoption agencies and got into my parents' home. But I uh, I was in high school in 8th grade, and my best friend, his mother worked at the school and was the librarian. And during a lunch hour, she took me into the library and sexually raped me, basically sexually assaulted me, and told me not to tell anybody about it. And I didn't for, I don't know, I think the first time I spoke about it in a therapist office was maybe 10 years after it had happened. I was about 15 or 14 at the time, something like that. So, yeah. And let's see. The next time was when I was with my third wife, actually. Or my second wife, actually. She would constantly like force me to have sex with her, and even if I didn't want to, that's actually what broke us up. Is she would constantly like force me to have sex with her, and assault me physically. And the last time we were not really together, but the last time I kicked her out of my home was she was trying to force me to have sex with her, and she grabbed a hold of my penis when I told her no, and I got up and put on my clothes and told her to get the hell out of my house, and that was the last time I had anything to do with her. So these ideas that women are always the ones that get abused, and that men are never the ones being attacked is completely wrong. And any man who's been married will tell you this, that being with a woman in a relationship, you are always the one being attacked. Very rarely do men attack women. It's a very rare thing for men to hit a woman. It doesn't happen a lot, and it's a very particular case of somebody like a police officer or somebody in a high stress job that comes home and his wife bitches at him or tries to yell at him and he smacks her around. So it's a very it's not a case where you're just going to have a normal man going back and forth to work and he's just going to beat his wife and everybody beats their wives. It's just not the case, and that's what they want to put out there, that all men are just rapists and they all want to objectify women and they all just want to be horrible, and it's just not the case. And it's also not the case that all women do this, but the way women like to flip it around and try to do these mental gymnastics to make it look like women are always the victim, I think also, though we aren't always the victim, we can turn it around and say that using their logic and actually showing that their logic doesn't really work, but our logic is very, very relevant. The fact that most cases that are brought up for abuse of a spouse is brought up by men. 64% are brought up by men against their wives, and less than 18% of those are prosecuted. And when they are prosecuted, typically it's not jail time. It's typically you know, public service or something. They don't usually go to jail because they're women. Even though she's beating up her husband or beating up her boyfriend or abusing him. Well, she's a woman. I mean, what can she really do? She can't kill him or anything. It's not that big of a deal if he just gets you know mentally abused and physically abused by his girlfriend or wife. That's fine, because all women are victims. you know so I think what needs to happen is more men need to talk about it, because the problem is that because men don't talk about being raped by women, it allows them to act like it doesn't happen. And because it isn't talked about, and they can say that, they can keep up the facade that all women are good and all men are rapists. And that's just not the case. I've talked to many, many men that have stories like that. TJ, the amazing atheist, told a story about one of his friends that was at a party and got drunk and woke up with a middle-aged woman, overweight middle-aged woman, in the middle of the deed having sex with him. And he was 17 at the time. So this happens, and all it takes is for a woman to have the chance to rape a man, and they'll do it. And that's what's funny about their rape culture. Just like I said in my rape culture video, it's typically done by women. That's and they when it is done by men, they facilitate it because they're fighting for equality. But if they want equality, then why aren't they fighting for the fact that over 130,000 men get raped in prison every year? If they want equality, then they should be fighting over that issue. But they don't concern themselves with anything that doesn't have to do with women, and everything has to be on women's grounding. They they think it's a good way for women to live their life in this imaginary world where men are all rapists, women are all victims, yet they're powerful somehow. I don't know how you can be a victim but also be powerful. And women are never the problem; they're always the solution. And like I always say in all my videos, the feminist sounding board is always, we have a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. That's their whole, that's their go-to move for everything. They like to, even though everything they wanted they got many, many years ago, and everything that they talk about is crap, it's complete bullshit. It's always the case that women are never the aggressors, that they're always the ones being harmed by men. And that's just a completely false blanket statement. It's a fact that if you're married to a woman, you're probably going to be mentally or even physically abused by your wife. You're going to be subjugated. You're going to be told what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, even if you don't want to. And that's just a fact. That's a fact of life. And I think it shouldn't have to be that way. You should be able to be in a relationship with somebody and not have one of the people in that relationship push you to always do what they want and always act the way they want. Because typically what's happening with women is they are saying, oh, I know what I want in a man. And then they get a man, and what they say they wanted, or what they say they were attracted to, that man was. And then they spend the rest of their time with that man until he leaves her or she leaves him, trying to change him and mold him and constantly say he would be better if he would just do this. And then once he does that, well, he does that now, but I wish he would do this. And then I wish he would do that. And then I wish he would do that. And then one day they start saying, he's not the man I met, he's not the man I married, he's not the man this, because you changed him. And now he's not the man that you fell in love with. And this is a common theme that women have, and we need to, if women are going to be constantly saying that men are the problem, then we need to point out how that's wrong, and we need to have the sounding board to do so. And we shouldn't let feminists and women who want to use this victim mentality to shut us down, because that's what's happening online. So many men are being scared offline for talking and saying the truth about women, and more of it needs to be talked about. So if you like this video, share, like, and subscribe. Leave any comments in the section below, and if you got any questions or any suggestions for videos, leave those down there too. Have a nice day.